a student-staff partnership to co-create and run a climate change and sustainability course. On this talk, we've got Vidya, Sam and Jaime, but there are quite a lot of other people involved, as you will see. So how did we set up the course in the first place? It all came about because of the Green New Deal, where students were making demands of the university. And among the demands was the fact that there should be a course to teach about climate change. And this was considered, and it was agreed that this would indeed be a good idea. And Jaime Toney at the Centre for Sustainable Solutions got involved. And it was very much also in the lead up to COP26 in Glasgow. So, yep, there is a climate crisis. And climate change is a very, very complicated issue. It's not something you can just look at with science. It also isn't going to be fixed just by considering social science type issues. It really is going to affect pretty much every aspect of life, and it really requires an interdisciplinary outlook. And the course also needed to be accessible to every student at the university, and as far as that's actually possible. So what did we end up with? Over 10 weeks, 2 hours in the evening to reduce timetable clashes. There's pros and cons of that. Some students think it's great, and some students have transport issues, etc. But it seems to be the best compromise. We have an hour of speaker talks and then an hour of discussion with some breaks in. We think about climate change, causes, facts, how to find good information, consequences, impacts, potential solutions, mitigation measures, action plans. And we include talks by scientists, social scientists, activists, such as political approaches, NGOs for the less political approach, and professionals who are working on it, like a farmer doing regenerative farming, a sustainable architect, and someone working for a business that encourages sustainable heating. So the assessment's evolved over time, but at the moment it's 10% on discussion, basic discussion participation, a reflective written piece, thinking about the course and what people have learned, and an aspect of climate and sustainability, and multiple choice questions based on weekly reading to help people engage with the reading. So really history, how we currently understand it, adaptation, mitigation, and trying to provide students with a well-informed interdisciplinary perspective and a mindset where, okay, maybe I can actually do something about it if I decide to do this, whether that's becoming a sustainable professional, whether that's deciding to join an organization like Friends of the Earth, whether you decide to go into politics. There are a whole lot of different possibilities, and about potentially making ethical decisions in your own life. But there's a real emphasis on people figuring out what their own ethics are. So understanding the situation and making their own decisions about what they want to do. So let's have a look at the team in a bit more detail. The people who put the thing together in the first place were Sam, Vidya, Jaime, and Christina. So they came together, and at that point, it was very much a student-led course in its first year. So a lot of work from the academic coordinators as well. But in terms of welcoming the speakers and setting up and kicking off discussions, Sam and Vidya did a lot of work together. Um, I came on board, I think, in the second year to contribute to discussions, and then in the third year I became the academic coordinator. We were very lucky that Sam and Vidya were spending several years at the university. And that meant that the course could effectively bed in well. Kat Scothorne then took over as our student leader and did an excellent job for a year, but it was becoming harder and harder to get student leader positions through HR. So in the most recent year, we have had more of a co-created course approach. We've still had Kat was kind enough to come and introduce the course at the beginning of the year, but we've had two PhD student GTAs to help with the discussion sessions, and I have organised and coordinated the course. We've had an effective sort of committee to discuss any course catalogue changes, thoughts about what reading should go in, if we're going to change the assessment, etc. And we're lucky that all three of the course lead coordinators are effectively alumni on that committee. I'd also like to definitely note all the talk volunteers, because it's almost entirely given by a whole set of different talks. And all the undergraduate peer discussion support volunteers who've turned up to help keep the discussions going on a voluntary basis. So some of the challenges, it's very, very interdisciplinary. So we've had a lot of discussions about how to keep a common thread. The pandemic was an interesting challenge, as it was for us all. Thinking about accessibility and organization, coordinating a group of people who are all busy has its own challenges, as it does if people are coming from slightly different viewpoints. But I think having a disparate team really makes it so much stronger if you can make it all work to pull things together. It is not part of any undergraduate program specifically, so we do have to keep making the case of why it's important. But thank you to the people who keep letting us run it. It's definitely a challenge to discuss with HR to go, okay, how are we gonna make this work? Which is the main reason why it's evolved to be sort of co-created rather than student-led. Currently can't manage to get HR to go, we've had 3 really good student leaders, can we not pay another one? And finally, I mean, climate change comprises quite a lot of challenging and sensitive topics. So we needed to build trust in the team to discuss and agree what we thought should be in there, and how we were going to present those topics to students. So it does really help keep those different perspectives of what content is lacking and what's relevant to focus on for students. It helps have more input into diversity of student background views. It really helps you think about hierarchical dynamics and how we're going to have good space for interactions and discussions, and pulling knowledge together from a whole lot of different people. And it helps us sort of integrate how we're going to do this and have different perspectives on that. Any questions?